Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, buddy. Welcome to Grue, and thank you so much for taking time out and coming on the show.
Thank you.
Well, the first thing I want to start say off by asking you got a new holiday horror film. Like I love the stuff in the back, the pictures, the posters. That looks awesome. And so Shannon wrote the film, and what inspired you to want to come on board and direct it?
Well, it was mainly because of its uniqueness. I read this and I felt like this was, it drew me to it because it has rich characters that are very layered. It has it deals with some really heavy, interesting themes like the debate between science and faith or religion, the addiction and estrangement, and this mother-daughter relationship, and then of course I had this fantastic monster. So it checked all
Yes.
the boxes for me. It was like, this is a movie that's about something. It's got good characters. It's scary and it has a monster. So let's go.
Oh, awesome. I love it. And how was like working with the great cast? Like I the cast for this film is great. You have Scout who's been in Halloween films, and like how was it like working with everybody?
It was great. One of the things I love about working with actors is that the professionals, they show up every day. They're off book. They bring that third dimension to the screenplay, and you get to watch the movie come alive right before your eyes. And they all did that. They all showed up. And I was really excited to work with all of them, but I was also especially excited to see Chrissy Metz, depart from the sort of sweet role of Kate on This Is Us and go to this really dark place with the role of Faith in this movie. And I thought she did that. She did a phenomenal job. And it's really exciting to watch an actor do that 180 in terms of their performance.
Definitely, yeah. And you like the creature for the holiday film. I mean, of course, without giving too much away because everyone has to go see it. But like, how did you and Shannon come up to together on how you wanted the creature to look and how you wanted him to move and his actions and all that stuff?
It all starts with the script. So I worked with a concept designer using the original screenplay as sort of the template, and then we developed this look together. And what we ended up with in our the original concept art was sort of like the money is no object version of this monster, right? It looked fantastical, it looked alien, it looked, it was tremendous in every way. Then whenever your movie goes into production, you have to build it. So you give your concept design over to your design team, and then they have to work within the confines of a budget. And they
Yeah.
also have to engineer it so that it can work. It's like an architect, can draw a really funky looking building, but if it doesn't work structurally, then you can't, it's not something you can actually do realistically. So that same sort of thing happens whenever you're building a really unique monster, especially a really big monster.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
with various concessions that you have to make because of budget or because of engineering, then you change your design, you adapt it, and then you end up with what you see in the movie. And I still think that, and I'm very proud of the fact that, we've designed a monster that is very unique, that no one's seen before in a movie seen before in a movie, and is definitely going to surprise you.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. And like, is there a scene from the film that you liked most or you like filming most?
Well, one of my favorite sequences in the movie is the snow tunnel sequence where Liz crawls into the tunnel. That was, I think it's maybe one of the scariest sequences in the movie, but ironically was one of the most difficult to shoot. So
Really?
it was a very, very hard day filming that, but
Oh, wow.
and you would never know. And but this is one of the magical things about filmmaking is like you go through the hell or the jungle of making it, the ups and downs. But then when you have a finished movie with like this amazing sequence in it, you kind of forget about all that stuff in the past. It's like, well, I got this great movie now. Look at this. This is amazing. This is fun. So I encourage everyone to watch this, if for nothing else, than the tunnel sequence.
Okay, okay. And this is a holiday horror film, Christmas horror film. So do you have a favorite Christmas horror film besides this one?
Probably Gremlins.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Yeah, it's so classic.
Oh my God, yeah. I completely forgot about that because when I think of Christmas horror films, I think of like Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Black Christmas and all that.
Yep, those are all great too.
Oh my God, yeah. It's Christmas horror. I think is just as good or better than Halloween horror films.
Yeah, it is. I think it's that contrast, between the sweetness of the holiday and horror. It kind of makes for a really fun meal.
Right, exactly. And what did you love most about being on this film and directing it?
Um, what I love most about it, I loved working with, I loved working with my actors and making another movie with my wife. And then my wife,
Oh,
Natalie LeVeck, is my producer, and it's a pleasure to be able to work with her. And then I had a great cast that, in many ways, made my job easy. In terms of the performances. So that was really great.
nice. And I love how the scene scenery looks like. It definitely has a Christmas vibe, but it's also scary. Like, where did you wind up filming it?
Well, we filmed the movie in Kentucky, in a real house in Kentucky, and we because it was set during the holidays and you have Christmas lights everywhere, we sort of had this sort of logical reason for going really big and really saturated with the colors. But I also wanted to make this feel very nostalgic and throwback to the 80s in terms of the color palette, especially like the blues that we used, and the way that it was lit. But also because the movie kind of deals with, you going inside of a character's head, we also felt like we had the sort of the good reason to go there and go kind of psychedelic, right? So we did some psychedelic stuff with the color palette. We did psychedelic stuff with like using lasers on screen, and creating this very unique visual experience that's, as far as I can tell, quite unlike what you see in a Christmas horror film. It's really more like Dario Argento.
Definitely, definitely, yes. And what about the score? Like, who did you wind up getting for the score? Like, I always love listening to like the music in horror films. Like, it's always great.
Yeah, I worked with a great composer named Matt O'Malley. Very talented guy. This guy just blew me away whenever I first started talking with him about it. I met him at a party and he told me what he did. And I was like, well, I am making a movie. Do you want to be my composer? And I hired him without even hearing anything that he did. And it was funny because I was like, hey, I know this is going to sound weird, but can you send me some stuff? I guess after a couple of weeks of talking to him. But he just so impressed me because he went home and he made like an iTunes playlist of the kind of music that he was thinking based on what I said, and it was so spot on. I was like, first of all, this guy has a remarkable encyclopedic knowledge of music, but then secondly, he totally gets it. He totally understands what I want.
Yeah.
So the movie was scored by a string quartet and partially played by himself. My dad, who's a concert violinist, he even played a little bit of the Charms theme in there. So it was a real pleasure working with him, and it was also a real pleasure working with live string instruments.
Wow. Okay. And what about you? Like, what kind of music do you like? Like, what's on your playlist?
I listen to a lot of stuff. A lot of it depends on the mood that I'm in. I'm a big metal guy. You might not
Oh,
know it by
nice.
looking at me, but I do listen to a lot of metal. I listen to a lot of Christmas music recently, country
Oh, cool.
music, and rock as well. I have kind of, and also classical. I have a pretty broad palette in terms of my taste.
Oh, nice. And if you were gonna do a karaoke song, what do you think you would sing?
Yeah, that's an easy one. It would be Jimmy Buffett, Cheeseburger in Paradise.
Oh my God, that's classic. Yes, definitely. And when is the film gonna be available for everyone to watch, and where can everyone watch it at?
Creature Was Stirring is in theaters on Friday. in select cities, and then you can actually pre-order it now on Apple VOD. So if you have an Apple TV app on your Roku, on your Apple TV device, or on your smart TV, you can actually pre-order it now, and it'll be available on December
Okay.
12th.
And the last thing I'm going to ask you is like, where could fans follow you and follow the film at?
You can follow me at Damien LeVeck on X and Instagram. And the film is available from Wellgo USA. And you can check their website, wellgousa.com, I believe, for movie theater times.
Awesome, buddy. Well, thank you so much for taking time out. I know you got like a lot of interviews you have to do for this, so I appreciate you taking time out today and doing it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it as well. Thank you so much, Rocco.
Thank you, buddy. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.